Did you get the link in the group chat? Okay. All right. Yeah, I was having trouble joining on my computer. I had to join from my phone, but I finally figured out. Okay. I'll see you in.
Hello.
Hi.
I didn't get to
Hi, good
put
evening.
in, right? But didn't.
Hello, sir. Please can you tell us about the Conversation Motivational Platform?
The Conversation Motivational Platform, our love language is value. A platform care to follow your pain to bring about a change.
Please tell us more.
A platform to help you find your sweet spot, gain your momentum. A platform that cater for suicide, depression, and loneliness.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now you know, so tell someone about this platform. God bless you.
Can you tell me a little about yourself?
Yes.
What is your sweet spot?
My sweet spot is value.
What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
I love dancing and meeting new people.
What is your favorite color? What are your favorite moments?
Favorite color is blue. My favorite moments is motivating others.
What motivates you every day?
I am motivated every day by helping someone to move from zero to hero.
You have any hobbies or interests outside of work?
Yes. I enjoy podcast, motivational speaking, spending time with family.
What's something people might be surprised to learn about you?
People will be surprised to know that I know how to cook.
How do you usually handle stress or pressure?
I handle stress and pressure by loosing for positive outcome.
Do you prefer working alone or in a team?
I prefer working with a team.
Who has been the biggest influence?
My biggest influence in my life, my little sister Janet and my big brother Travis.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Guyana.
What's a personal achievement you're proud of?
I am proud of being the visionary of the Conversation Motivational Platform.
Once again, welcome to the Conversation Motivational Hour with yours truly, SGGR Seon Gregory Gooms Rodney. And tonight we have in the studio is the beautiful and amazing Peggy Beneby. And also we have Cathy also will be in the studio with us tonight, where we're going to chop it up 10 toes down. We're going to go in tonight in the financial aspect of your life and how you can able to deal in terms of purchasing your car and making wise money moves, money choice, and to be smart about your money. And you can able to, where you can able to make money speak for you, give money that voice that money need to have. Make money while you're sleeping and make sure that you will never go down a downward spiral where you will be in a financial deficit, you'll be financially embarrassed, but you'll be financial literate and you'll be financially empowered. With that being said, Miss Peggy, can you introduce yourself to the Conversation Motivational Tribe community and village? Welcome to the Conversation platform.
Good evening. How are you, the Conversation family? Let's go. My name is Peggy Beneby, and I am a financial advisor at PFS Investments, and I have my own financial literacy platform, Smart Money Moves, where I just give financial concepts to help people to grow and close the wealth gap. One of the main things that I want to do is help families, Black and brown families specifically, closing that wealth gap with knowledge of how financial products work.
And here we have Miss Cathy, the closer.
Hello. Good
Me,
evening.
the closer financial strategy, so every deal will be sealed by Cathy. So with that being said, Miss Cathy, once again, welcome to the Conversation Motivational Platform, our tribe, our community, and our village. We welcome you. Our mantra is value. Our sweet spot is value. And we cannot left out our love language with simply value. So you're on to the Value Podcast, and I want you to introduce yourself so the audience can feel that truly you're bringing value to them this evening. Miss Cathy.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So I am Kathy, the closer. I am an automotive buying expert and financial strategist. I have been in the automotive industry for almost 20 years. Well, I actually just left the automotive industry, but I was in it for almost 20 years, and I now have gained the knowledge to help my people. So that's what I'm excited for my next journey. I'm excited to be able to help others freely now, share all the secrets, all the tips that keep us stuck, unfortunately, in America financially. We don't realize how much of our money we're giving away and not keeping within to grow our generational wealth for our future and for our families. So that's what I teach. I teach people how to keep more money in their pockets and give less to the banks so that they can grow their wealth. That's my expertise areas.
So, Miss Peggy and Miss Scotty, and to the audience, one of the greatest tragedy that faces humanity is the tragedy of ignorance.
Yes.
Ignorance is where you are ill-informed of a fact that you should be free.
Yes.
So living in freedom is not guaranteed for everybody to be free. The only how you're guaranteed to be free and to live in freedom is when you have the abundance of truth on your side. I'm being a pastor, being a chaplain, being a life coach, being a motivational speaker, being an actor. I recognize that the freedom comes to people who have access to truth. So tonight you're going to bring the truth to the people, which is going to eradicate ignorance. For the word of God said, they shall know the truth, and the truth shall set them free. So without truth, you are held in captivity. You are held in bondage. Most of you hold yourself in captive. You hold yourself in bondage because you don't want to find yourself in spaces and places in these rooms where truth have been told, where truth have been displayed. So this afternoon, we are bringing truth to you, and you have to make that decision that you want to be free. You want to be at the place that you are liberated. You want to be the place that you can make that decision as your own man, your own woman, and no one is making that decision for you. And that is what speaks of freedom. When you are in bondage, someone is making that decision for you. But this afternoon, we're helping you to have your own voice, which money have his own voice, money have his own feelings, money have his own emotion, and we're helping you to make sure that money can speak to you while you sleep and say, hey, come and get me. I'm waiting on you. I'm lying in your mailbox. Hey, come and get me. On the other side of the line, make that phone call. So with that being said, I'm going to hand over to Miss Peggy and Miss Scotty, and they're going to walk us through this evening the plethora of experiences that they have garnered over these years and in training where we can be now, our eyes can able to open to see Freedom Day, that we can able to be financially empowered and be financial literacy, and we can be financially empowered in terms of the understanding that we can to pull our family out, pull our community, pull our tribe out, and pull everything that attached to us. We can sing the song from now till next year, everything attached to me win, but that can never happen until you really put yourself into where freedom is. And I'm glad we have an attorney on the line right now, and she says knowledge is freedom. And attorney, I'm glad you jump in and you say that, because I said the greatest tragedy, attorney, in humanity is ignorance. The more ill-informed you are, the more you are ignorant, you are in a dark cell. You are in a dark place. You're walking around in darkness. Where you have illumination, where light comes, is when their freedom of truth come to you, and understanding and enlightenment. And that's what we are bringing to you this evening with this skill learned women who was get into space and places of truth. And they have taken that course, and they are catapulting now to a financial trajectory where they can bring everything attached to them. Truly, not the song, but in action, that will truly win. Miss Peggy and Miss Scotty, the floor is yours.
All right. Who wants to go first?
You or me, either or.
I'll go first. All right.
Awesome.
So, hi again. Of course, my name is Peggy Benaby. My background was in education, so I know that knowledge is power. But what I learned was not just the knowledge, but applying the knowledge. That's even more powerful. And sometimes we know things, but we don't apply it, and therefore we don't benefit from it. right? So it's not just knowing what you're supposed to do, but also applying that knowledge. So one of the things that I help people to do is actually apply certain strategies so that they can reach financial independence and financial freedom. So I like that the attorney used that word, freedom, right? We all want to be free, and the truth shall set you free, right? And one of the truths that sometimes we have to tell ourselves is that we need to change. We need to make changes financially. We need to change certain habits. And so, one of the key things that I always do is I just help coaching people through some certain habits that they need that's going to make a difference in their financial life. So, that's my role. I want to help to see people grow. Like I said, I want to close that wealth gap. And so I use that educational background to teach people how money works, to teach people about the difference between saving and investing, to teach people about retirement and different strategies for retirement. And yeah, and we just really help people to reach their financial goals, and I did that through my own experience. So some of the things that I share, and I also have a book where I share some of my experience and how things for me in my early years kind of went financially astray, and because of the strategies that I learned, I decided to change course in my career. And another thing when it comes to freedom is that sometimes we make ourselves a slave to our work because we get into debt and we do certain things again where now we don't have any more flexibility, we don't have any more freedom because we're a slave to our debt. And I was once there as well. It's like, well, I want to start a business, or I want to look for a different job, or I want to do something else, but I have these bills, I have these credit card bills, I have this mortgage, I have these all these things, and then you become a slave to debt. And so a big thing also about getting free is being debt free, right? And so learning some strategies about how not to get into credit card debt and not to fall into some certain debt traps is also very liberating, because if you don't have debt, you have a certain level of freedom, but then you also have to start building equity in your own life, right? You have to start building equity and having that exit strategy so that you can retire with dignity. So it's all about that. And with that being said, I'm gonna toss it to Kathy.
Thank you, thank you. Great information as always, Peggy. And as both Peggy and Pastor Seon said, we find ourselves in a trap. And honestly, I like to call it the financial, we can become financial victims. From merely lack of knowledge. I still am a single mother. Two of my children are grown and my youngest is 17. And as a single mother and sole provider, if I did not educate myself very early on with the power of knowledge when it comes to making sure that you're securing the lowest interest rates, that's the number one killer in America, which keeps, as Peggy said, everyone in that debt trap. You stay in the debt trap because you don't know how to leverage the 0% lines of credit. So it's okay to have, there is such thing as good debt, guys. Not all debt is bad. I don't want to say all debt is bad. Now, if you're recklessly spending on just things that you want, that's different. That's bad debt. Now, if you're leveraging these lines of credit to build businesses, buy real estate, and invest things that are actually going to grow your income, that's a little bit different, but only when it's done at 0%, guys. I am a single mother with over $300,000 worth of lines of business and personal credit, and that is the only way that with those excellent scores that I am able to leverage these 0% lines of credit that keep me afloat so that I am able to invest my cash. As Peggy said, the only way to grow your wealth in America is, number one, to invest it in the stock market, number two, to invest it in real estate, and number three, to have a business. There is no other way to get rich, guys. Zero. There's no other way. I'm sorry. Nothing's on the moon. There's no other way. And the way to get there, as Miss Peggy said, is it takes discipline. I wanted luxury cars. Did I buy them? No. I stayed in Hondas and Toyotas because they would last me longer and I'd pay the lowest amount of maintenance. lowest amount of interest, but I was always getting special financing. Like I always kept my credit A1, so I'm always able to leverage these lower rates. I've never in my life paid an interest higher than 4.625, and that was on my mortgage over 10 years ago. It is now at a 2.37%. It will be paid off in less than 10 years. I've never ever financed a car for more than 4.49. That was just recently. Before that, never higher than 3.79%. The difference between a 3.49% and a 15.49% in a 5 or 6 year term is over $18,000. That's $18,000 of free money, guys. You're giving away to the banks. Free money that you should be investing to the S&P 500 that will grow in 5 years to equal the amount of that vehicle that you just bought. It'll be paid for, I promise you. So learn how to invest, learn how to save, learn how to get less debt and on lower interest, and learn how to leverage yourself in America, because it's not stopping. It's only going forward. Learn how to leverage AI so that you can leverage yourself. That's all, guys. Thank you.
People may want to look now at the income versus the expenditure. They want to know how they can prioritize their wants versus their needs. So, Ms. Spikey, with your experience, can you walk us through there?
So, yes, budgeting, right? That was like a nasty word to me when I was young. I was like, what is a budget, right? So, so when it comes to income, and I mentioned that people become a slave, right? One of the biggest things that I want to caution people about is like not looking at your gross income as your income. Most people are like, well, I make six figures, I make 120,000, I make this. And so they live on this sort of like status, like you said, I got to have the BMW, I got to keep up with the Joneses, I got to go out, I got to have the nice house because I'm making six figures. So I have to act like I'm making six figures. But that's creating that debt trap for yourself, that slave trap. That's you being 2 to 3 paychecks away from losing your house, losing your car, losing everything when you can't make that payment. So first and foremost, if you make 100,000, if that's your gross income, you're really taking home like 60 or 70. Like just, you got to account for taxes, So now you need to live like you make 60 or 70,000, right? So that does might mean that you drive the Toyota instead of the BMW, right? Even though you make six figures. So that's the first thing, is like prioritizing, right? The other thing you need to prioritize is paying yourself first. Like that was the ultimate thing that really changed my life. And I have to tell on myself. I don't know why I tell on myself, but I tell on myself because I had heard people say, pay yourself first when I was younger, like in my teens and my 20s. And I was like, oh, treat myself first. So I'm going to buy the clothes. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do all this stuff. And I'm going to treat me first and pay my bills later. And then you get into debt and then you get other problems. Don't do that, right? Pay yourself first means invest in yourself. So from the top, right? I'm a Christian. So I'm going to say from the top, right? Your tithes, right? See the house that's feeding you. But after that, you want to be maxing out your IRAs. You want to be putting money in your retirement account, putting money in an emergency savings account, whatever. You want to save, save, save. You got to save your way to financial independence, not spend your way to financial independence. So that's paying yourself first, so make sure. Experts say you should be putting away 15 to 20% of your income into savings and retirement. So that's going to come off the top. And then, of course, you got to feed your family. You got to have a roof over your head and all of those other things. But that's the order of things, so you want to create, if you're going to cut back somewhere, don't cut back on your savings, cut back on your spending. I always have people tell me, I can't afford to invest. I don't have any money to invest. Well, that's a lie. You have money. You just need to redirect your spending. You have the money. Everybody has the money. Most people don't realize that they spend maybe $6 or $7 a day. Some people tell me they spend $20 a day and they don't know what they spent it on. $6 to $7 a day is $200 a month. $200 a month invested at 9% over 30 years is $1 million, people. You have the money.
Miss Scotty,
I
some people look at the debt to ratio income and they walk into a dealership. Already in their mind, they're taking along with them influence and suggestion by someone who is not in their purse, their wallet, their check,
oh yeah, I've seen
and
it
they
all.
step into that dealership with everyone else who is not responsible for paying, and they have all this in their head, and they have to make that decision. Walk us through, because I love Penny smart money moves, and you form that synergy with financial strategy. So how can we help someone to strategize? We flipping it here now to make that smart money moves that they can well on their way to do something different. I mean, one of the things that I never agree in Christendom, because I get saved at a tender age, I'm still a young man, I'm very much young. I think I'm younger than both of you too in age, as per se. But at 16, and one of the things we always believed in, pray, and like God is going to just open the windows of heaven, and He's going to now get this new trending word, the portal,
Yes.
and blessing is going to come. But you don't understand, while we're waiting on God to do that, God is waiting on us to do, because He said He give us the power to get wealth. So you can ask somebody who already give you the keys to give you the keys times 1,000 times to open one door. So you have the keys this evening, tonight, whatever is the time zone around our viewership are viewing us even right now. Give us some of the keys that we can financially strategize to make those smart money moves. That Christian can have this light bulb come on. That stop praying for God to bless you with the condition and the principles for the blessing. Caddy.
I agree. Well, first and foremost, you're right. We have to pray to God every day, but we're going to pray to God for every day for the life that He gives us every day, right? We can't pray for Him to give us the answers to the knowledge that we have to go learn. He gave us the mind and the eyes and the ears to go learn it, to hear it, and to see it, right? So that's on us. So we can pray, but if we don't implement, the prayer does nothing. Does nothing. And that's what people fail to realize. Everyone can have faith. Faith is amazing to have. Faith is what keeps you going every day. Faith is what gives you the will to go want to learn. It gives you the will to go want to get the wealth. It gives you the will to want to build beyond what you already know or what you've already seen, right? That's what the faith is for. Now, we as consumers always have to protect ourselves because no one's coming to save us. Always, first and foremost, no one's coming to save us, and definitely not in America. No one's coming to save you. If anything, they're coming to take from you. They're going to come take off your ignorance. So please, please, please invest in your knowledge. It's the number one thing that's going to take you to the next level. So when it comes to car buying, the number one thing that you're going to want to do before you even start trying to buy a car is you want to make sure that you fix your credit if you don't have good credit. If you have no credit, you're going to want to easily go ahead and leverage yourself and obtain some credit. You want to have at least 3 lines of positive credit. And as far as utilization goes, yes, you're correct. You always want to stay 10% is the magic number below the total line of limits that you have. That could include every type of line of credit that you have, not excluding, mortgage or car notes, but any credit card that you have, any line of credit is going to be counted into that utilization on your personal side, that is, not on the business side. That's the trick though. Once you build yourself strong on your personal side, you're able to get your own interest rates. And like I said, that's the number one killer of any loan is a high interest rate, okay? Because you're paying these loans for a long time and they always want their interest off the bat. So they're taking their money first and then everything left that they feel like if they're going to apply to your principal, which is going to make you take forever and they're going to make a lot more money than they should ever. So when you're able to leverage yourself, We have to remember that dealerships are not banks. They do two things, guys. They sell cars and they fix them. That's it. And as we know, everything is negotiable, right? Everything is negotiable, okay? So we always want to negotiate. We never wanted to say okay. Okay is not a good thing to say. It's always negotiate. You want to take your time. You don't want to just jump head first because you like the car and that's what you want. I always recommend reliable. You know, if you want luxury, great. I recommend leasing a luxury car. I don't recommend buying it. The maintenance is way too high. It's wasting your money. I'm going to say it again. It is wasting your money, okay? That's the money that you should be investing in your wealth. Now, when you want to go secure the best interest rates, there are two things that you want to do. The first thing you want to do is you want to go to the actual manufacturer of the vehicle that you're buying. If you want a Mercedes, you're going to go to the Mercedes website. If you want a BMW, you're going to go to the BMW website. If you want a Toyota, you're going to go to the Toyota website. You're not going to go to the local dealership's website. You're going to go to the manufacturer of this vehicle's website. And you want to see, you can do a Google search of what type of special financing rates are available. Do they have any rebates? Is there any cash back? Is this car not selling so they're giving you more money back? You want to keep playing around holiday times, end of the year. Anytime this car is sitting around not selling fast, that's your best time to buy, okay? Always your best time to buy. You want to make sure that you're getting the special financing. What that means is they'll give you 1.9, 2.9 for 36 months, 3.9, 4.9 for 48 months, and so on and so forth. Anywhere from 1.9, 2.9, 3.9, 4.9 is probably max, and that's already too high. You always want to go anything lower than 5%, and I love lower than 4. Lower than 4% on a car is the way to go on an interest rate. Stop giving your money away. If you cannot, and they don't offer any, your step 2 is to go to a local credit union. Navy Federal has amazing rates. Penn Federal has amazing rates. NASA has amazing rates. Go to these credit unions and use them for what they're for. They're for to give you the lowest rates, okay? You don't want to go to the dealership and ask them, what is my monthly payment? No. You need to already know that I have negotiated the best price on this car based on the market. There's many ways to do that. You want to do an online search. You do not have to be in the dealership to negotiate a dealership deal. You need to go to the dealership for two things. One, to test drive. That's it. And 2 is the sign. After you've already negotiated the deal either by phone and by written by email, everything needs to be in writing. That goes from the price of the car. That's the first thing that you're starting on. You're not including a trade. We're not including interest. We're not telling them if we're financing. We don't know if we're paying cash. All we want to know is how much are you selling me this car for? That's first. The next thing we're adding to that is going to be their processing fee. In Maryland, where I live at, they charge $800 now. I think it's about to go up a little bit more. It was $5, now it's $8. In Virginia, it's like $12.95, so they're a little bit high. So the price of the car, the processing fee, your state tax, whatever state you live in, you're going to tax it, and then your dealer registration fees. That's going to be taxes and tags. Just your tags. Tags and registration. Those are the only fees that should be on there. Anything above that is called an add-on, and you need to negotiate or take off immediately. That is extra. We don't pay extras. If you do want something called gap insurance, which is an amazing thing to have, if you don't put 20% down, which I don't recommend because 20% cash in the stock market in 5 years will give you, again, most of that car back, okay? Keep your money in the market, stop giving it away. It's a piece of metal. If you crash it, it's gone. And guess what? So is your money. Cars depreciate instantly. If you buy a new car and you drive off the lot, you don't even have to go around the corner. Just drive off the lot. You've already lost 10%. If you total that car at that very moment, you've lost 10%. Gone. You now owe the bank 10% minus on top of what you finance, okay? You owe them more than what the car is worth now. That's where gap insurance comes into play. The gap is the difference between what your loan is and the depreciation amount. Anything in between is what the gap will cover. Navy Federal sells Gap for $399, guys. $399. Dealership will send it for $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12, $13, whatever they can make money on, okay? We're not doing that. We're not making anybody money but ourselves, right? We're being selfish. That's the only way that we're going to grow. I promise you I would not have survived with 3 kids if I were paying 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17% and up on anything. I would be the big B word, broke. So we
So
have to be
basically,
smarter.
you're saying one of the key strategy is to make sure you do your research. And the
Absolutely.
financial research is researching on the numbers that will make you save
In your market. Car
in.
Gurus, Sam's Club has a great auto buying program. Costco has a great auto buying program. Is that the number that you'll get the car for? You can negotiate more, but it tells you, hey, this is a great price for that car. You want to look at the manufacturer selling price, MSRP, and you always want to pay thousands as low as you can go below that number. You never want to pay that number or above that number. That is a bad deal, and you will end up negative and upside down on that vehicle at any point in time of trading or anything else. You always want to go way below as far as you can go. If that takes 30 days, if that takes 60 days, then that's what we're going to keep doing. They're going to keep calling you, and you'll just make a new email that you don't use. You'll make a fake email, not a fake one, but a separate Gmail only for car shopping, because they're never going to stop calling you and they're never going to stop emailing you, and they'll get on your nerves. So definitely keep it short and on email, and be very firm of what you want. And that's where you can keep track of each dealership, because once you get a price, you're going to the next dealership. A lot of them will say, hey, I can't negotiate, over the, you have to come in first, you have to do this. Well, I've already gotten this price. Are you able to beat it? If you're able to beat that, let me know by how much. I'll come by the car today. You can use that verbiage, but you do not ever have to go there to buy a car. The price they can negotiate whenever, once you realize, like I said, you test drove the year, make, model, and trim level that you want. At that point, you can let them know, what is your pricing? I have to go consult with whoever, your spouse, your mama, your family member, whoever. You got to go consult. You are not making any decision today. You just want the numbers and give me the best deal that you're able to give me. Is it going to be the best deal? No.
So that is our strategy. Will eat culture for lunch.
Yes.
Because culture tell us what your sight see,
Yes.
that your pocket spend.
Yes.
And in a short order, you end up into a financial dilemma.
Yes, a big one.
You recognize when there is a demand, you cannot rise to the occasion.
Yes.
And many people live bitter.
Yes.
Because they refuse to do better.
Yes.
In strategizing with this greatest thing, I tell people, money answereth all things. And I learned that from the book. The Bible says that. Some people say, God don't need money. You don't really need money. But he tells me it answers all things. So when there is a thing that it cannot answer, that tells me you lack strategy. That means you're like blind Bartimaeus. So the strategy to destroy the culture, because culture is what oftentimes at play that kept people in ignorance. Culture that kept people in darkness. And I'm talking about culture, strategic planning for every aspect of our lives. More so, money is one of the most important aspects of humanity's, whether you're existing, whether you're living, whether you're surviving, or whether you're thriving. Miss Peggy, I want you to walk through some strategy that people can understand the difference, how to pay on the principle, and how to make sure that they can cut short the length of time of that vet, and how they can able to do both, walk and chew gum at the same time, that they can still have something for a rainy day. Because it's not that people don't know what to do, but they don't have the keys of the strategy. They don't know how to make those smart money moves. You see, draft, everyone can play draft. Everyone can play draft. But not everyone have the chance to make a king on the board of draft. Not everyone have an opportunity to devour the king. And if you devour the king, the queen, sorry, the game still go on. So I want you to help some people tonight how they can able to understand the principle and the regular payment, how they can able to start playing the principle. For most time, if you don't have the strategy, is the last thing you start paying on. So therefore, they're paying the loan, but not the principal. And they cannot even understand how to start having something for a rainy day, Miss Peggy.
So first I want to say I wish I had met Kathy when I was in my 20s, because my goodness, she would have saved me thousands, tens of thousands of dollars.
Easy.
Easy. I mean, oh my gosh.
You guys don't want to know what I've seen.
Well, what I see too is frightening. So I'll start with mortgages, right? So a lot of my clients, one of the main thing, and Kathy, you said it, one of the best ways to build wealth in this country is through home ownership, right? You gotta be having equity in something, and property is the best thing that you can have. One of the best things that you can have equity in. But a lot of people make the biggest mistake and they don't know how to get into a proper mortgage, right? So mortgage interest rates, I mean, I think the highest I've seen is maybe 7%. But it's not so much the interest rate is as much as paying off the principal. So exactly what Pastor Seon said. It's like if you have a mortgage, what you want to do is you want to put extra money on that principal. And you can do that. Most mortgages is principal and interest. And if you find the first 5 years of that mortgage, you're paying all interest up front. So don't refi your mortgage if you've had it more than 5 years, because you're restarting the interest all over again on that, right? So one of the strategies that you can do is you can pay your mortgage bi-weekly. Like if you get paid bi-weekly, pay your mortgage bi-weekly. So you're getting in an extra payment or two per year. So that's one way. Another way is, and this is what I used to do, and I do this on I did this with one of my car loans too, and I was able to get out of my car loan quicker with that. I would just put more money down on the principal so that it would lower the balance, so I'm getting paying less interest each time. So you lower whatever you can do to lower that principal amount. Don't, put the most money you can down when we're
So,
talking about
Miss Peggy,
house.
before you go forward, this is an
Uh-huh.
interesting point because some people may miss what the principle really
What the
is.
principal is.
So when you say put more money down on the principle, because some people feel like this principle is this distant thing, even though it's a claw in the loan.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people does study of words or liturgy
Okay. Okay.
because they're not exposed. We're not bashing anyone here, but we're speaking truth to power. And I am in the same boat like you in some aspects of my life too. Because we don't major much on liturgy to understand what it really means. So you go to the realtor or you go to the dealership and they said, okay, this is the principle, this is the thing, and this is the loan, and they give you a grand payment. So some people just hear in this word, but never really understand what it meant, that now when they go, they can really address it from a place of understanding, a place of knowledge, and a place of strategy. So just backpedal a little bit. So
Backpedal a
tomorrow
little bit. Okay.
somebody going to buy a car, they can make even an informed decision.
So your principal is actually what you're borrowing. The amount of the loan is the principal. The interest is what the bank, the credit card company, that's what they're making their money on. So they're adding that in. And most people are told a payment. Like Kathy said, don't go in there and say, what can I get for $300 a month? Right? Because they're going to give you something and you're going to be paying $50 principal, $250 interest, right? So the principal amount, as say if you bought a house for 200,000, that's your principal. But then when they give you your payment, they're going to say pay $800 for the month, 500 or 600 of that dollars is interest 200 of that dollars is principal. So that means the only equity you have in your home in the first month is $200 worth. And the bank made $600. So that's the difference between principal and interest. And those loans are set up that way that the bank gets paid on their part first. So they're front loading it. So if you think, well, I'm just going to make an extra payment. I've done that mistake. I'll send, instead of paying 800, I'll pay 1600. Well, you know what the bank's going to do? They're going to take their interest first, and then you're only going to have $400 of equity in your house. So you got to tell them, hey, with this extra $800, don't put it towards interest. Put it towards the principal amount, put it towards the balance on my home, lowering that amount so that when they charge the interest, they're not charging it on what is it, 190,000 or whatever. They're charging it on 180,000. So that it's lowering the amount that they're basing the interest on. So that's the difference between principal and interest. Now, mortgage loans work a little differently than car loans, work differently than credit cards. So that could be the tricky piece too. But what you want to do, I was starting with mortgage because I see a lot of people get into bad mortgages. They don't know that the only thing they're paying to the bank is interest. And that's how they lose their house, because they've been paying for their mortgage 4 years, 5 years, 8 years, and their balance hasn't gone down any, right? And so when troubled times come, they lose their home because they have no equity. And then they say, oh, well, can I take a home equity loan out? No, you have no equity, right? The equity comes from paying on the principal. So with credit card debt, right, it's the same thing. You have a credit card, $3,000 credit card limit, right? But you're going to get, and the thing is going to say pay $20. Oh, that's it, right? Like, so you pay $20, but that's all interest. So when that bill comes, it's also broken down into like your statement balance and your current balance, right? So you pay your current balance, that's paying everything up. You pay your statement balance. The statement balance is what they're going to charge you interest on. So you can pay your statement balance. If you
Wait. This is getting interesting.
you pay,
So you said the statement balance
uh-huh.
and the payment balance.
It's two different things.
So and that, you see, I'm learning here now. So when you receive a paper bill, or you receive a bill, the smaller one, that is the payment balance. For example, credit card said $30 is your minimum for the month. So you're paying, that's the statement that balance.
No.
Or if you owe $300, that is the principal. Explain the part to me.
Okay, so say say you have $3,000 of a credit card that you could spend, but you only spend, let's say you spend $200 of the $3,000. So your bill is $200, right? But it's going to be from the statement. So the statement balance is going to show whatever you accrued in that 30-day period. That's the statement period. The current balance shows everything. All right. So if you had something from the period before. So if your statement balance is $200, but the current balance might be $250 or something like that. So 200 is from the statement. If you pay the statement balance off, there will be zero interest charged. If you pay the minimum payment of $30, right, now you've paid the interest. And then that statement balance continues to grow. So that's why people see their credit card balance growing even though they're paying it. Because if they pay anything less than the statement balance, they're being charged interest on top of that, whatever they purchased. So each statement, that bill is getting larger and larger, right? And so that's how it can actually spiral out of control if you're not looking at it. So one strategy is to always pay your statement balance. The current balance is good too, but the current balance just means anything that's more current than what was your last statement. But as long as you pay your last statement, you should be spending or paying zero interest on that card.
So therefore, you're saying the better decision, financial strategic decision you should make is not paying, if you can afford, the minimum balance and pay the principal balance that brings you to zero. So when they tell you $30 or $40, it sounds very much small and insignificant. So but what happened is that the principal keep growing. So what is, before we hand over to Kathy, what is a balloon payment now? There's another word people hear and may want to know what is balloon payment. Then we go to Kathy.
So I feel like I need some more context for that one. I've heard of balloon, like mortgages that balloon, but and Kathy, you can correct me on
Yeah,
this.
balloon loans are basically, and they're a lot of them are illegal now because it's kind of like what you were saying in the beginning. A balloon loan is where they give you a loan for a car, but they're only taking all their interest. They've already calculated how much interest. If it's a $50,000 car and they're taking 25%, they've already calculated 25% of that daily accrual, and they want that in the beginning. You pay zero to the principal, only interest up front. So you lose the car so fast it's not even funny. It actually happened to my brother. It's the worst thing you can ever do. Happened to my brother one time. Yep. That's what happens sometimes. Your family think they know better than you and they don't want to come to you. I'm in the car. It's happened to my niece. Another something like they don't, sometimes family don't, they think they know better than you. So, they don't want to go to the expert and they get burned. So, it happens. But yeah, a balloon payment is, you be very, very careful. You always want a fixed interest, period. You want a low fixed interest rate on anything that you finance, period. You want 0% on credit cards. You want low interest fixed rates on cars, low interest fixed rates on mortgages. And loans too. Personal loans, they're higher. You probably won't find one lower than 8%, and that's low on business or personal. So, there are higher rates. There's other ways to leverage money and be smart about getting the money and not pay those high interest rates. You just got to be smart.
Yeah, you
The
definitely
way around
have
all
to
of
be
it.
smart. I
So,
mean,
Miss Scotty, can you walk us through? There's a saying, right? There is a saying. I want to be quoted correctly.
Okay.
There is a saying that says, the devil is in the details,
Okay. Yes.
that's the same.
right? And
Yes.
I guess we all overheard that many times over. And we looking with the details in front of us so we can find the devil. Help us to understand the importance of reading those fine prints and the importance of utilizing the manual that it come with.
It is very important because here's the thing about it with contracts in general. If you don't read them, you will find yourself with hidden things in there, There are so many ways to hide things in a contract, in a car contract, in a mortgage contract. It actually happened to me when I sat down with people when I bought my mortgage 10, 11 years ago. It was a newly built community. And within that, they incorporated the whole water. They built the whole water system. It was brand new, right? The community was new. Everything was new, and including that was a water system. So, I was told that I was going to have to pay $410 a month. I'm sorry, a year for 30 years. At that point, the loan of my mortgage when I originally purchased it. But come to find out a few years later, when I started getting the letters in the mail, I saw that it said 40 years. So I'm paying for longer than I would even, my mortgage would be on this property for something that I had no idea about, I didn't read, I listened to them, and I was just, when you get a mortgage, the papers like this, and you're just signing, and you're signing, and I was young, you're signing, and you don't know what you're signing. The same thing happens in the car business. You will sign on extra contracts. If you have a shady finance manager, you will buy gap, you will buy extended warranty, you will buy maintenance, you will buy so many extra products, and it could be 10,000 more than you ever even thought that you don't even know where it came from, and all of a sudden you're financing because you told them you want a payment, or they tell you this is the only that we can get you. Don't do that. You are in control of what you purchase, how you purchase it, and how you finance it. That's the reason why I always like to take control of my own financing, and I don't leave it in the hands of the dealership. You want to know why? Because there are 3 rules in life that are only true. Men lie, women lie, but numbers do not. Numbers do not lie. You can calculate. There's an awesome they have bankrate.com has every type of calculator, not just auto, mortgage, auto, credit, you name it. They have an awesome where you can put the exact amount. You don't have to worry about all the extra tabs, the exact total purchase price, the exact term that you agree to finance the vehicle for, and the exact interest rate, and a payment is going to come up. It's going to show you the exact total amount financed that you're going to pay, including the total interest charges. It's going to tell you exactly how much of interest you're going to pay over the term of this loan. And if that number, monthly payment and out the door number, that's what it's called, an out the door number, the price of the car, the processing fee, the taxes, tags, registration, that's it, right? That's the total price of the vehicle, out the door price, times the interest rate and the term. 36 months, 48 months, 60 months, 72 months. That's a 3 to a 6 year term, depending on what you can afford. As you go up, the interest rate will bump 1% each time on a special financing. Now, remember, dealers make up to 2 points, 2% on every loan that they finance, guys. That is 2% of a loan. It could be $40,000, $50,000. That's a lot of money you're giving away for free that you should be investing in the stock market that's going to grow in those 5 years. Because remember, the cycle keeps going. Every 4 years there's a president, and every 4 years the market's going to skyrocket. Want to know why? Because there's no president's going to allow the market to crash on a presidential election. It is historically known that you will make money every 4 years. You'll make money.
So, Miss Scotty, so when people heard earlier about, we talk about equity, and I think he was the first person to talk about the word equity. So people have heard or overheard the term equity. I want you to help them to understand, one, what equity is, and two, the necessity of having equity. So they know what the equity is and the proper use of equity, or why they should have equity, and problems that equity could solve.
Absolutely. So equity is amazing in any loan, right? If it's a mortgage loan and you have equity, like if I bought my house, my place at $160,000, and 2, 3, 4, 5 years later it's worth $200,000, I now have money in the bank. That's always going to be there. Now, would it be smart for me to take a loan on it? No. Here's the thing that people need to understand. My mortgage is 2.37%. There is no lower. My money's it's not going to do me any good by leaving the money or paying more down on this loan. It doesn't do me any good. Want to know why? Because I can invest the difference into the stock market. I'm going to make minimum 7 to 10% every single year, guaranteed. Guaranteed. So that's number one. My equity is still sitting there. No need to take a loan. It's going to sit there, and when I sell my home, I'm going to have that to either A, keep and invest, or B, buy another home. I have equity now. All that cash is sitting towards my next property. Now, when it comes to cars, if you pay too much for a car and you go to trade it in too early, because normally when you buy a car, as I said, it will depreciate instantly, 10% right away. Within the first year and a half, you can lose up to 30% depreciation. So cars are not assets, guys. They are depreciating vehicles. They are to get from A to B. So stop wasting your money on luxury. They are to get from A to B. That's it. They are depreciating assets. They are not appreciating assets. So by the time you catch up with this loan, you can always, within a year, year and a half, if you didn't pay more down than what it was, you can check the market for this vehicle. That's when you can cancel gap. When you realize that your loan to debt ratio is 20%, you have 20% down, and more than 20% down, you can cancel your gap insurance and get the proration back, okay? You'll now have equity, so you don't have to worry about that. After a year and a half on a good car loan, you will have some equity. Now, after a few more years, you're going to have more equity. After you pay this loan off, which is the smart thing to do, you will have an entire trade-in now. You'll have $20,000, $30,000 worth of a vehicle that you can now trade into another $50,000, $60,000 vehicle. On top of it, you'll only owe about $20,000 for this vehicle now that you got a brand new car again, but not only, there's something called a tax trade-in credit. So once you negotiate the highest price for your trade-in amount, you'll also get a trade difference. So if I buy a $50,000 car and they're giving me $30,000 for the trade, guess what, guys? I only have to pay taxes on $20,000. So there are advantages to trading it in. So you always want to be in a situation where you are in a positive equity or very, very minimum low. You don't want to be paying MSRP or higher, because if you trade this vehicle, when you're going to be $5, $10, or more $1,000 flipped upside down, that you now have to roll into another new vehicle. So you pay a $50,000 vehicle, you're rolling in negative $10,000. Now you're financing a vehicle for $60,000 that isn't even worth $60,000. You drop off the lot, you lose 10%. It's now worth even half of that. Now what? You're in a bad situation because you want to drive a nice car. How much sense does it make? Sometimes, unfortunately, we are our own cause of our financial demise. Stop it. It's not worth it. I just left my job in the car business. I was a sales manager for over 18 years, guys. And guess what? I'm free to figure it out for a little bit. I have time to grow and build for a little bit. Want to know why? Because I wasn't worried about driving luxury cars. I wasn't worried about buying designer handbags. I was about raising my kids and growing my wealth so I can do what I want to do. I can travel the world. I can now see what I want to do. I have time to breathe. I'm not in financial turmoil. I'm like, oh my God, because I wasn't paying those high interest rates and I was investing my money, like she said. I was investing. If you invest, guys, all you need to do is to start $563 a month into an IRA. That's it. And here's the advantage of it, guys. That's $7,000 a year that you'll never in your life pay taxes on. But not only, you only have to which I don't recommend touching it, but if you ever get into a bind and you need the money, you can pull out what you put in without any tax penalties. Without any penalties. You only cannot pull out anything that you make. So if you put $7,000 a year, you can pull out $7,000 with no problem as you grow. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to penalize you. If you pull out anything above that, then that's when you're going to get taxed. So it's kind of a savings, but it's a tax deferred savings in a sense. It's the best between an HSA and an IRA. There are no better tax saving growth mechanisms in the United States of America.
Wow. Miss Peggy, I want you to because we are dealing with financial strategy and smart money moves. Money have legs. Money have legs. You have to determine where you want your money to move, what direction you want your money to move, what voice you want your money to hear, and who you want to touch your money. Money is its own person. So I said, well, what were you? I never heard this before. If the word of God says that money answereth all things, that tell me somebody have to speak to something for something to answer. So God is telling us all to give money his voice. So we speak to money and look for the response. So money is a reciprocal thing. It not only should leave, but it should be returning. So I want you to talk to us the importance of you use the money to pay your cell phone. You own a cell phone. Some people have 3 phones. One person owns 3 cell phones. It's okay. Probably for different reasons. That help us tonight to understand the importance that we can be strategic in using our cell phone to interrogate at different times how we can bargain and leverage our bills, like the Georgia Power, you in New York, whatever it is, New York Natural Grid, the electrical, and so on, and start to bargain. And what happens, that extra income come back to you. Help us to navigate how we can put a saving power to that.
So That's an interesting question. One of the strategies actually that I've been using, and trust me, I didn't believe in this in the beginning, but I started paying attention to cards that give cash back and points. And so I can't do this for all bills, but as much as possible, what I do is I use my cards that have cash back to pay my bills. So I'm getting money back from paying my bills, right? So if, you know, my cell phone bill, my cable bill, you know, gas, whatever it is that I'm using, I'm putting it on that cashback card. And then when the statement comes in, as if I was going to pay, I was going to pay it anyway, right? So when the statement comes in, I pay that statement, but I've earned cash from using that card. So I'm actually doing the opposite of what I was doing in my 20s, which in my 20s, I was paying all the interest to the banks. I was letting them take all my money, taking advantage of me left and right, making all the terrible mistakes. And now I'm like, finally, they're paying me to use their money, right? So that's just one of the things, one of the strategies. But I really caution people, if you know you can't pay it off in one or two payments, don't get it. And I understand people are using credit cards as emergency, but the emergency really is you need more income, right? The emergency really is you cannot be in that kind of cycle for 6 months or longer, because it really does put a serious dent in your financial. It can take you years to dig yourself out of, that debt cycle. Another thing is understanding how to pay off credit card debt or any debt. There's a strategy called snowballing or debt stacking, where, you're strategizing getting completely out of debt from one loan or credit card, by putting all extra money on that one bill and paying that bill completely off, and then moving on to the next bill and the next bill. What most people do, and what I did too, was, you see your bills. Let's say you owe $2,000 of bills, loans, credit cards, whatever. And so you just pay it all out of your checking account, right? And then you're down to zero. You pay that savings account or checking account down to zero. Big mistake, right? What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're actively attacking one debt at a time and getting rid of that debt, and then staying on top of your payments with all your other debts, but not spreading out that extra money over all the debts, because that's how you keep staying in debt. You never fully get out of debt if you're spreading out that extra money. Say, oh, I'm going to pay 20 extra to this one, 20 extra to that one. Put the whole $100, if it's $100 extra you have, put it all on one card, put it all on one debt, and get rid of that debt. So you got to strategize. Okay, which one of these debts, which one of these cards am I going to totally get rid of first? And then negotiation. Kathy talked about it, right? A lot of these cell phone companies and everything, they want to keep you as a client, right? You can negotiate with them, right? You can say, I do it all the time. I'm like, I don't like this. My bill was this and now it's this. What's going on? Like, you went up on me. I'm going to start to shop around, right? And then they're like, oh, well, let's see. We have this introductory, like, make them work. That's what they're there for. They have introductory stuff all the time, and other people are getting all these great deals. Well, you call them up and you ask for a great deal, right? So you can negotiate. You can negotiate your credit card interest rate and terms. You can negotiate your cell phone interest, your cell phone rates and terms. Sometimes even electricity. I mean, they deregulated it, right? So sometimes you can even get a better deal with your electricity by going through a third party. But those are all things that you gotta think about. Don't just, as Kathy said, don't just give your money away. Don't just pay to play, right? Make them earn your money. You work hard for that money, and I like the question you gave Kathy about equity, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately too. And I was like, you can get equity in your home, but another thing that you want to think about is always having some sort of a business, right? Always having some sort of an exit strategy where you're getting equity too, because many people, they work a career or a job for 30, 40, some of them 50 years. And then when they're gone, that income stops and their family has nothing to show for it, and so you want to build equity. You want to have some sort of retirement insurance. There's a way that you can insure your retirement, and that you can build equity in your own life, through a business, through property. You could put your property in an LLC. You can do so many things to build equity for yourself and for your family. But the one thing I want to say, that, and people may disagree with me, you don't want to build equity in a life insurance policy. Many people might disagree with me. There's something out, but you don't want to build equity in a life insurance policy, because much like the car loan, that depreciates in value, and it's the company is the one that's owning that equity, right? You either have to borrow it with interest, or you have to terminate your policy to get that money out of there, and it's depreciated money. It's not money that you could have put into the market and earned 7, 10,
Yes.
12% over time. So that's another thing. You want to create equity for yourself, but not in an insurance policy.
I love that when you say that the money stops when you stops. Many people never think about the continuity of money. And that's why I love the Bible so much. Because God is such futuristic while still in the present. That he said money answereth all things. Because when you stop speaking, money stop answering. Because there's no voices giving to that money. There's no movement with that money to go and find company to come back to the person who's giving that voice to that money. So, Miss Cathy, I want on this closing thought about some people have the privilege to work more what we call overtime, or some people have a privilege of what we call an increase in salary. And they have this culture that the more you have is the more you have a point to prove. So I want you to help us that this strategy has to destroy culture for lunch. Culture sometimes doesn't have a futuristic bearing. Many people are suffering because of culture. Many
Yes.
people are dying because of culture.
Yes.
When I'm saying dying, I'm not even saying physical death, but they're mentally bankruptcy,
Yes.
emotionally bankruptcy, educationally bankruptcy. Somebody can say, "Oh yeah, can you be emotionally bankrupt?" Yes, I've been there emotionally bankrupt. When I was in a place, nothing is going for me, and it tells on my emotion. It actually started affecting my health. This what happened with this great thing that God says answereth all things.
Yes.
So help someone that they can able to let this light bulb come on and they can make the smart money moves.
No, definitely. I mean, it's crazy. You hit the nail on the head, because as you guys were talking, I was doing an AI search, because I feel as though we get stuck and we get scared and we get complacent. We get complacent in one place and we think that, oh, even if we're making six figures, like we made it. We think, oh, we made it. Early six figures. We made it. Like, oh, this is what doctors and lawyers make. That is not the mindset anymore, guys. Like, people are making 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times that amount doing digital products from home. Okay, so we have to shift our mindset because we are evolving. So you're right. We can't. I lost my 14-year-old nephew in Baltimore last year at a train station trying to go home because a 15-year-old shot him for nothing. For nothing. So yeah, we do. We get complacent. We want to have the nice things. We think that we have to look like this, or we have to wear this, or we have to. I shopped at Marshalls, Ross, TJ Maxx, and nobody would have ever known. And all my money went into the bank savings and investment accounts, and it grew. Like I said, I drove Hondas and Toyotas. Yes, I drove new ones, and I would keep them 10 years, 5 years, 8 years, as long as I could, and they still run. And I'll pass them down to my kids. Because our money's going to grow. Our wealth is going to continue to grow. So it's proven, guys, in America that we stay at our job because of fear. And we are never looked at for our true worth and potential because they know that we're scared, and they think, and they told us that is how much we are worth. Do you know that they give us 2 to 3% raises? I've been 100% commission, so not for me, but the average American 9 to 5 gets 2 to 3% increase a year. That's pennies. Do you know that if you leave your job and you start somewhere else, you're easily going to get 10 to 30% increase just by stop being scared, stop being complacent, stop being okay with just being average. Grow your mind, grow your education, grow your wealth. Don't be scared. I've been in sales 20 years. I can walk in any door and have the least knowledge or skill set in that job, and I'm going to get that job because you know what I have that you guys don't? I have confidence. And it's key. They don't know if I'm lying or not because I'm so confident. They have no idea. All they know is she's confident. She must know something. Lead with confidence. Know that you're worth it. Know that you're worth more. Know that you can make more. Know that you can learn more. Know that you can do better. Don't care what people think about you. Don't care about what you wear. Don't care about what you drive. You'll feel so much more at peace. Try it for 6 months, and let's talk about this in 6 more months. I promise you'll feel like a whole new person. The power of the IDGAF is incredible.
So, Ms. Scotty, we thank you for the keys tonight that unlock so many doors to our viewership tonight. And I want to thank you for bringing those keys to the conversation platform, our tribe, our village, and our community. I think I will be a failure if I allow humanity under my spirituality, guidance, and leadership to continue to walk in darkness and continue to walk in ignorance. That's a greatest tragedy to those that I have the privilege to lead. So once again, I want to thank you for bringing those keys, and whatever they will use those keys, whatever doors they will unlock tonight because of you, a revolving door or a sliding door, a locked door, whatever door, we want to thank you tonight. And we know it would not be your second time because now you are family. Miss Peggy, tonight, many people were taught to be the kingmaker, to be the king, but many weren't taught the importance of being the kingmaker. I'm going to go that over again. Many people, and this is going to be your closing thesis tonight, many people were taught to be the king, but they weren't taught to be the kingmaker. What does that mean? Many people were taught to be the single-handed owner. So you must be the only one in the family, have a business, the only one in the family that is wealthy. And culture put a badge of honor on it.
Mm-hmm.
So culture have you going through meltdown, you need a therapist, you make sure you cannot enjoy your purpose because culture help you to be the only. I want you to talk to us tonight with a strategy to use smart money moves that we can change that culture, that if you go alone, you go very fast. you're going to crash. But you go with others, you will go very far in the context of streams of income.
I love that question. So very deep. I thought of quite a few things as you were speaking, Pastor Sion. So the first thing I thought was, you mentioned something about running yourself into the ground to live up to other people's expectations, right? And so, self care is so important. And in my book, I talk about how I went through a bout with breast cancer, and that was when I learned that you can't abuse your body and expect it not to react, right? And so you got to take care of yourself. Self care is so so important. So if you are the breadwinner for your home, always remember that it's like what they tell you on the airplane. You got to put the mask on yourself first and then assist other people. If you're not around to provide, then your family goes without. So number first and foremost, take care of yourself. But secondly, when it comes to building wealth and legacy, you don't want it to stop with you. It's always about creating that for it to live on beyond you. That's what these podcasts are about. That's the whole premise of what I'm doing with closing the wealth gap, is passing that information on so it doesn't stop with me. My daughter already understands her role, and how she's got to be the next generation, and she's already started to plant the seeds to her friends of the things that I'm talking about, and she's already looking at planting the seeds even in younger youth, so that it doesn't stop when you stop. You gotta, they say, leave a legacy for your children's children, and there's several ways that you can do that. And one of those ways is through wealth building strategies, through trust, through insurance, through things like that. But ultimately, if we're talking about, um, you know, us being the breadwinner and how we make our money, we have to understand that we cannot stay in that employee quadrant our entire lives. That's the start of something. You want to get the knowledge, the expertise, the experience, and everything from working for somebody else, but then you got to flip that, and you got to be self-employed, and you got to create that equity that you're putting into yourself. And if you could flip it again and make it into a business like a franchise. See, I'm very blessed and fortunate that I do what I do, but I'm also part of a larger company that incentivizes us to not only do that, but to help other people to do the same thing. Right. And so the only way to elevate, right, is to make sure that you're lifting people up and giving them the opportunity, to do it yourself. So, when you create opportunity for other people, you're doubly blessed, right? The Bible said, teach a man to fish, you feed him for a day. No, no, sorry. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime, because now he's able to do that for himself. So the premise of, listening to us, right, is so that you can do this for a lifetime. You can pass it on to someone else. So put yourself in the position where you can leverage yourself, leverage your time, through other people, creating an opportunity for yourself and for others. There are many businesses out there that will allow you to do something like that, but just always understand that if you're an employee, the only person that's getting rich and living the dream is your employer.
So, Miss Peggy, can you tell us where can we find you and your platform, your if anyone want to connect to you and want to further this discourse in terms of making smart money moves? Because I know tonight that light bulb has came on into the minds and into the thought processes of many people, and they really want to further get that illumination of ignorance, because the Bible said they should know the truth, and we said that in the preambles, that the greatest tragedy of humanity is walking in ignorance, walking ill informed. And the Bible said if the blind lead the blind, many gonna fall into a ditch, because there are many people have been led by blindness. And as I said, they're still in financial bankruptcy because nobody is bringing financial light, whether it be LED, whatever they want to say to their life. They're in emotional bankruptcy. No one is helping them to make emotional decisions so they can very much well alive emotionally, and nobody's helping them with intellectual capacity, that they have the capacity to change their circumstances. So I know the light bulb has came on, but they may want to further the discourse with you. Where can they really find you?
Well, I'm easily you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look Peggy Beneby. My name is spelled there, Beneby. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Instagram. We have Smart Money Moves on Instagram. You can also email me at Team Beneby. So that's TEAM and my last name BENEBY, Team Beneby at gmail.com. You can find me there as well. And if you let me know that you heard my message on the conversation, I will gift you my PDF from my collab book of my story, um, or a free financial booklet. Just let me know that you heard from about me on the conversation, and I got a free gift for you. But yeah, LinkedIn, my name, teambeneby at gmail.com, or Smart Money Moves on Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. Miss Cathy, strategic planning is very much important, because many people, they're doing things but doesn't have a strategy. They don't know what strategic planning is really about. And tonight you have done the same. Your voice has transcended beyond wherever you are sitting in your local place of domain, your home. And someone want to apply more of the strategy, that they can make strategic planning, probably for business, probably for the emotional life, probably for the financial life, because strategy is very much important. When I know I want to get up to another dimension, I went back to study strategic planning, not knowing that an organization been for 20 something years never had a strategic planning for the organization. When they reached out to me, I said, I just finished strategic studies. And I used the cheapest way to do my strategic study. I went overseas to study. But the studies and the keys that I received was very much applicable. So I could be able to show them, okay, you need a Gantt chart, you need to plug this in a Gantt chart, then you need to know how you're going to do this, how you're going to do that, who's going to be the benefactor, who's going to be the beneficiary. And when you plug all of this, therefore you can have something that is sustainable and have continuity. So tonight I want you to help someone, that the strategies that you was given tonight, the keys that you was given tonight, as they unlock those locks, the doors are open. But they need strategy to know what to do when the doors are open. It's like you give you child $1,000 and they run in the toffee store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The doors are open, I got the money, and they just gather in toffee. Nobody reading cholesterol content and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. So now the door is open. You and Miss Peggy, and I don't know why y'all get this strategy and money move. They're so in sync with the names. They're so from that synergy. Now the door is open. They run into this door now. They don't want to shoot themselves with their own bullets, self sabotage. So give them some strategy continually where they can find you to continue the discourse.
So I actually do. I have, of course, the Closed Masters Academy where we go over. It is a weekly, not, a 3 month program. So every week we go on and we go over each module live, and we answer questions and we teach basically how to obtain, manage, leverage, great credit, because that's the number one step, right? So once we learn how to do that and budget, so that we're not wasting hard earned money, along with using a lot of AI tools to come up with new forms of income, new strategies, new businesses. Because at the end of the day, one income is too close to none, way too close to none. And when we're relying on someone else to be in charge of our livelihood, it's never a good feeling. Never. So when we have the different tools and the different knowledge to be able to leverage ourselves, then we are able to grow these hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of lines of credit, both on the personal and the business side. So we're able to leverage them into wealth building mechanisms. So we do that every day. We learn strategic car buying strategies. We learn how to secure the lowest interest rates. We then learn, with saving all these thousands of dollars, we have a plan to budget. We also then learn how to auto invest strategically every single month into the stock market so that we're growing our generational wealth. So I hold weekly free webinars every Thursday at 7 p.m. The link is in my bio on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at my name on here, Kathy underscore the closer. It's my tag. So CATHY underscore the closer. You can also email me at info@theclosemasters.com. My website is www.theclosemasters.com. So all my links will be up. I have 3 powerful ebooks, and definitely the information in the course can change your whole financial future and mindset. So I
Once
appreciate
again,
it.
I just want to thank you guys for gracing the conversation platform with your expertise, bringing the keys and bringing everything that illumination can take place. Because, when you stop learning, you start dying.
Yes.
I have a thing that I've embodied for about a year or two. A day mustn't go by without I have a fresh thought, a fresh concept, a fresh idea. I learn a new word, I learn a new liturgy, I understand the meaning, I understand how to better my podcast. And every time I take this microphone, I mustn't sound like the last one
Right.
because I have to grow. And the onus is on me. Nobody is coming to save me than I save me, right? Because I don't want to be in any bankruptcy, financial bankruptcy, emotional bankruptcy. I don't want to be in no form of deficit. I must always have to make a withdrawal when necessary. I always have abundance of love to give, abundance of romance to give, amount of smiles to give, amount of strategy to give, amount of ideas to give, because God never want us to be in deficit. He never want us to walk in bankruptcy. He said it's blessed to give than to receive. You cannot give what you don't have. Many people really want to be a giver, but they don't have it to give, but they don't want to put themselves at the position that they should have to give. Case in point, like when Jesus gave out the talents, the one man refused to put himself in position, so he went into all form of bankruptcy. So I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule and from all your family that you had planned for this moment to grace us. We never take your time lightly because time is a currency. Yes, it is a currency with no exchange. But what you has given us tonight is 10 times over what we have no 5 minutes ago. With that being said, we want to say thank you so much Thank you. Thank you. Words are not enough to say thank you because making an indelible mark is more than dollars and cents. I will close on this notion that words and anything about you will precede you. So tonight, smart money move has went into room and spaces where you may never go. Financial strategy will go into rooms and spaces where you will never go. What I am doing tonight, narrated, will take me into rooms and spaces where I may never go. But your thought processes precede you into those places. With that being said, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. As you continue to shape your world, you continue to roll out your own red carpet, and the world is ready to receive you. With that being said, God bless you. Have a great and productive evening. Compete with no one else than compete with yourself to be the best version of who God has called you to be. You are your own competition.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Amen. Thank you.
You are most welcome. You are welcome.